Thank you, President Bing. And may I please ask everyone to rise for the invocation to be led by Rotarian Boy Arteche. And please remain standing for the national anthem followed by the RC Makati hymn.
Before I start my invocation, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of my guests from Rotary Club of Candaya, Tacloban, President-elect Annabel V., Secretary Joy Validor, past Assistant Governor, my cousin, Cathy Anuver Vanavitacola, and the incumbent president, also my cousin, Cathy Quintero. Let us bow our head and pray silently together. Let us offer thanks for our food, blessings for one another. Let us be a source of hope for those in need and contentment for those who are lonely. Lord, let us give gratitude for our opportunity to serve Rotary. Let the feelings of love, kindness, and a well-directed yet gentle spirit always be reflected in our actions. May those assembled here today, Lord, the many offerings of Rotary, may we abide by the rules we have established, those of trust, fellowship, and ethics, and may we place service above self in our daily endeavors. Lord, may we always test ourselves and our efforts to be sure they are the truth, good for all concerned, of benefit to mankind, and provide peace and understanding. All this we ask in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Witness a history in our lifetime as we bring back to life what a true Rotarian should be. Service above self, unity in diversity, and inclusivity. All for one and one for all. This is our chance. This is our time to rise up and be the example of what humanity can achieve. Together, let's create hope in the world. So let us sing with one voice the Philippine National Anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Mayang magiliw, perlas na silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pa sisil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw, may dilagan tula at awit sa glayang minamahal, ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw niya kailan, may di magdidilim, lupa ng araw ng walhatit pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. RC Makati Rotarians, please let us show the good senator that we can sing. Sing lively. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, and together we stand proud. We are leaders with integrity, always ready to serve humanity, always living by the four-way test, building goodwill and peace along the way, giving hope to the world. Will the Rotary Club of Makati prepare to aid a fellow man? As true Rotarians, we live to lead. We believe in service above self, and this is why we succeed. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, and together we stand firm. We are leaders with integrity, always ready to serve humanity, always living by the four-way test, building goodwill and peace along the way, giving hope to the world. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, giving hope to the world. Rotary Club of Makati. May we ask all Rotarians to remain standing, and do we have someone to lead the four-way test, or we just recite it all together? Titignan natin if you memorize it. So for the four-way test of the things that we think, say, or do, we all put it to heart. Let's do this, brothers. Number one, is it the truth? Is it beneficial to all concerned? Fair to all concerned. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? I'm sure your answer is yes, 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 yes. You may now take your seats. Kinabahan ako, may senador eh. All right, so we move on to the acknowledgement of guests and visiting Rotarians. For the dignitaries, we acknowledge past District Governor Tony Kila. We have to make special mention of a member who we miss so very much, Consul June Periquet. We miss you. We miss you. Rotarians, we have here with us Deli Yap, Meli Parungao. We'd also like to acknowledge our guests, Jose Luis Nonoy Yulo, guest of President Bing. Also, Noel Gonzalez. We have attorney Fulvio Dawilan. Ezekiel Lampa. Lampa, welcome. Vivian Angeles from the Daily Tribune. Teddy Montelibano from the Daily Tribune. Guests from RC Candaya, PE Annabel V, Secretary Joy Valledor, President Kathleen Quintero, PAG Kathy Bona V Tacola, past President Deti Panis. We'd also like to acknowledge DCC Doris Insomo from RC Makati San Antonio. Also a good friend of mine, I think she's going to be late, but Dr. Gwen Pang, the Secretary General of the Philippine Red Cross. Tapos na. All right. So now that we have acknowledged our guests, please, RC Makati Rotarians only, can you please rise as we give love, acknowledgement, and our warm welcome to our guests, the RC Makati way. RC Makati Coral, please. Attorney Louis Asioche, join us. Junjun Dairit, past president. Friends of Rotary, we greet you. So, friends of Rotary, we greet you. We want you to feel that our friendship is real. We are glad you're here today. So, take back home a bit of cheese. We got some the fellows here. And when once more you need to come again, our friends come again. Welcome, Senator Dick Gordon, and welcome to all our guests. Take your seats, please. We move on to the club functions and committee announcements. Any director, any committee head who'd like to take the mic and make an announcement? PP Cesar Campos, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen and guests. I'd like to make an announcement on our medical mission, free screening of breast and cervical cancer. We have 4 places. The first one on April 17, 2024, Wednesday, 9 a.m., Sacred Heart of Jesus Parish. Don Jesus Boulevard, Alabang Hills, Muntinlupa. The second one, April 23rd, Tuesday, 9 a.m., Barangay Gulod, Nueva Ecija, Quezon City. Third one is April 30, 2024, Tuesday, 9 a.m., Barangay Peatas, Quezon City. I hope some of you will join me here in the 3 of this medical mission. Free screening for breast and cancer. So help us in giving service to our group. Thank you.
Richard, na-defocus yung camera. Thank you, Past President Cesar. Any more announcements, committee, board members? Salin niyo na lang. All right. Now we greet our birthday celebrants and wedding anniversary celebrators. Oh, he's here in front of us. Past President Charlie Rufino. Happy birthday, April 17. Rotarians, Patricia Young, April 17. Baby Samson, April 21. Happy birthday. Camille Macasyar, April 22. Happy wedding anniversary to Hiro and Marlene Oba, April 18. Taba and Baby Samson, April 21. Inigo and Angela Garcia, April 22. We now ask Past President Louie, PP Junjun, and the rest of the RC Makati Chorale to please earn your keep. We need to serenade the usual way.
Okay, Junjun.
Let's celebrate this important day. We greet you. Sing happy birthday and happy. That's for you, Tito Charlie. And for all the celebrators, wala kaming bias dito. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, we will witness the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement between the Rotary Club of Makati and the Philippine Red Cross. May we call upon Senator Richard Dick Gordon to sign on behalf of the Philippine Red Cross. And for the Rotary Club of Makati, we have our President Bing Matoto, who will sign the agreement. Witnessing this momentous occasion, we also have Vice President / Director Howie Calleja and Dr. Gwen Pang, Secretary General of the Philippine Red Cross. Marcy, we want some some music, please. Marcy David. Richard. Now, the agreement being signed includes a commitment from the Rotary Club of Makati to encourage our members to enroll in the Philippine Red Cross membership accident assistance benefits as enhanced platinum members. This program, with an annual membership fee of only 1,200 pesos, offers benefits such as a free unit of whole blood and access to ambulance services. So indeed, fellow Rotarians, dear guests, the amount mentioned is a very immaterial amount, but rest assured, it will go a long, long way. So let us help the PRC in advancing their intentions and their endeavors. Can we please have a warm round of applause? Well deserved. Nakaka 3 rounds pa daw ang yab. Sabihin mo nga kay Senator Dick yan. Okay. Now we'll let our adrenaline subside a little. It's time for the President's time. President Bing Matoto, the floor is yours.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon, everybody. Well, today I'm of course thrilled to welcome Philippine Red Cross Chairman Dick Gordon, my fraternity brother, who had the pleasure of initiating because I joined the fraternity room. He will enlighten us on how we can best contribute to nation building. Our partnership with the Philippine Red Cross is further strengthened today as we sign, as you saw, a memorandum of agreement to encourage our members to enroll in the Red Cross membership accident assistance benefits as enhanced platinum members. It's something that we don't also want to experience, but anytime you need an ambulance, we'll give you a readily ambulance and some blood. I encourage our members to enroll not only for personal needs, but also to support these worthy organizations. A bit of commentary about our previous activities. We had the Rotary Homes Fun Run led by our PP Louis Asoche. Hopefully our future governor. Never stop, Louis. It's a great success. And I want to thank those who joined me. Can you imagine I did 3 kilometers last Saturday. Yeah, I've got friends from Alabang who can't believe that I did 3 kilometers, man. At Philinvest Alabang. Your participation supports the fundraising efforts of Rotary Homes, a cause very close to our hearts. And I also extend my gratitude to Trinity Insurance, of course, courtesy of past District Governor Sid Garcia, who's not here today, for being one of the sponsors of the event. With PDG Sid as Chairman Emeritus, our club has been instrumental in supporting housing projects in Parañaque, Siargao, and funding the construction of 40 homes in Muntinlupa. And special thanks to Director Rodrigo Enri for hosting breakfast at the Palms Country Club for the starving runners last Sunday. The pre-planning session of Keith, incoming President Keith, for the incoming Rotary year was also a very productive half day spent at the clubhouse last Saturday. It is heartening to see PE Keith Harrison already planning for his term, signaling a smooth transition. And based on our discussions, I'm confident that the incoming board members will lead us to another successful Rotary year. Let us continue to extend our cooperation and support for Keith's administration. I'm also extremely delighted to announce that our feedback project that was spearheaded by Philip Soliven, in partnership with Advancement for Rural Kids, or ARC, has been selected by our district as a nominee for the Philippine Rotary Outstanding Environmental Awards. From that level, we move on to the national level. This project, which addresses hunger in the community, also contributes to reducing carbon footprints and solving issues in chemical monocropping. And additionally, I should say that 2 of our other projects were also part of the finalists. This was the BGC Greenway project of Charlie Rufino, and the Save Our Reefs project in Narvacan. We entered the top 5 out of 17 entries, all our entries placed. Congratulations to the project teams for putting RC Makati on the Rotary map once again. And then on April 7, we had the pleasure of attending the 25th charter anniversary of our brother club in Baguio, RC Baguio Summer Capital. Thank you, PP Louis Asioche and PE Keith Harrison, for joining me in this event. Again, I finished 18 scale in Baguio Country Club. Anyway, this event strengthened our relationship, and we look forward to collaborating on projects such as Books Across the Seas and the Mental Health Project, which is really a fascinating project for our club. And I hope more members can join us on our next trip. And then next week, we have on April 23, we will have the honor of hosting Governor Jay Tambunting for his governor's visit. And this will be an excellent opportunity to showcase our club's achievements and active participation. I urge all of you to attend and demonstrate our club's vibrancy and commitment to service. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, President Bing. It's 1 p.m. sharp. I'm so happy that we're keeping to our schedule. Now we ask Governor, past District Governor Tony Kila to please do the honors of introducing our esteemed guest speaker for today. Governor Tony.
Thank you, David. I'm really honored and very happy to introduce our guest speaker. He and I were classmates at the Ateneo. Ateneo, ah? The best school in...
Kay Charlie.
Wala yung Lasal dyan, ha? And in the first year and second year high school, we were very close together because when we got to the Ateneo, kaming dalawa lang ang probinsyano eh. Karamihan galing sa grade school. So maraming bully. Classmate din namin si June Periquet, grade school. So hindi ko na matandaan kung ilan ang mga kasuntukan namin eh. Anyway, Senator Dick Gordon is a lifelong public servant and has served in the Philippine Red Cross for over 50 years, serving as chairman and chief executive officer since 2004. He has served in the Philippine government for over 28 years, beginning as the youngest delegate to the 1971 Constitutional Convention and working his way up from Olongapo Mayor to Subic Freeport Administrator, to Tourism Secretary, and finally a Senator of the Republic of the Philippines, of which he has been re-elected. He has left an unparalleled legacy in each of the institutions he has led building and transforming their very foundation to lead them to excellence today. Senator Dick is the Philippine president we should have had. Correct? And pero hindi pa huli. Kung si Joe Biden pwede sa Amerika, Dick Gordon mas pwede sa Pilipinas. Yan. Anyway, he's a lawyer by profession, but he also been at various points a broadcaster, a businessman, a lecturer, and an inspirational speaker. His more complete biodata is found in our kaunlaran. Finally, he's also a dedicated father, grandfather, and loving husband. May I present to you Senator Dick Gordon.
Tuloy niyo yung music, ano ba?
Madami yan, madami.
Siguro pinigil ni Charlie. Charlie. Thank you very much, Tony, my beloved classmate. Beloved, huh? Si June Periquet is also my classmate. They both look older than I do. Anyway, I thank my classmates for being here today, as well as all the Rotarians, especially Charlie Rufino. He's from the other school. Di ba? Start. Let me greet everybody here. I'm very comfortable with the Rotary. Wala na kayong fining session, ano? Wala na. Okay. First of all, I'd like to greet my fraternity brother. Unahin ko yung senior brother ko, Brother Alfonso. And of course, si Bing Matoto. Akala ko Rotary Club of Matoto na ito. Muntik na ako madulas kanina. Anyway, I didn't realize that Tony Aquino was PDG. Kaya sinabi niya, the president would ever had. PDG, President Dick Gordon, di ba? Galing talaga ni Tony. And of course,
David Ackerman, very hyper. Talagang ganyan ang mga Tigalasal. Talagang agresibo. Kaya nagsya-champion sila ngayon. Di ba? And of course, Boy Arteche, who was with me in Accra Law. Yeah. And of course, some of my friends here who I haven't seen for a long time. No, Yulo, I don't think he remembers me. No. We know one another very well, and a lot of other friends here. My fellow citizens, Rotarians, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Great pleasure and honor to be here this afternoon. The last Rotary Club I had was with another Lasalite, Rafi Alunan. Of course, he did not show up. And he's to his ever lasting regret. And he keeps apologizing. Sorry, Dick, hindi ako nakapunta. In any case, sabi ko, hindi mo naman maintindihan yung sinabi ko. English yun eh. But this is the banter that exists between Ateneo and LaSalle. We're not exclusive schools, but we like one another, we hate one another, and we enjoy one another. And that's why I went to UP Law School. It's a college of law, and some of us call it the University of Law College of the Philippines. Okay. Mag-lawyer ka para man. And of course, today you asked me to speak. I keep telling Bing, ano sasabihin ko dyan? Daan-daan taon na akong iniimbita ng Rotary. Lahat ng speech ko magaganda pero wala nakakatanda. It's sometimes I find it very difficult. Sabi ko sa kanya kanina, when Tony introduced me, he said, I was an inspirational speaker. Sabi ko, Bing, hindi tayo kumikita dyan. Mabuti pa yung si Juan is just naglalabas yun ng panyo nyo at magbigay na kayo, di ba? Kilala nyo yan, nag-worship kayo dyan, di ba, Charlie? Anyway, we live in very strange and difficult times. Whenever I go to a speech, I always think in terms of a human being. I always say, the head of this country is very much troubled. I look at it as a symbol of a human form. Why is it troubled? Young people in this country, they can't compete at the moment. Our PICE or PICE ratings are quite low in reading, science, and mathematics. It's really ridiculous. For a country that once upon a time had the highest literacy rate in Asia, second only, I think, to India. And for a country that once had heralded as one of the great economies after the war, second only to Japan, I really think we really dropped the ball. But that's another speech. But when you look at the arms of this country, and you just saw Manibela, there was a strike yesterday, they're also troubled. The arms of this country represented by labor, we've been sending laborers abroad. Every time there's a ship that's struck, another one was struck in near Yemen, there are Filipinos. And, a lot of my friends tell me, maganda kayo dyan sa Middle East because if the war with Iran continues, you'll have 2 million Filipinos who will be waylaid, and we have to prepare for that. And we have had experience in that in the Red Cross, believe you me. That is why I'm so happy that we could have a memorandum of agreement. This is probably the upteen time I'm having a memorandum of agreement with the Rotary Club. Tawa naman kayo. No. I call it the RCRC, Rotary Club Red Cross, or Red Cross Rotary Club. And I think it's fitting because I look at your site and it says you are in building homes, and we build 154,000 homes in the Red Cross, believe it or not. I can prove that. My girl from hindi nakakatak-tak. Nakatulog ata ito and we built 154,000 homes with the names of the people involved. I'm not trying to compete with you guys, but certainly any home after a disaster is certainly welcome by people who have lost their homes and all their property. And these are some of the homes. It's in Albay, and these are the homes in Leyte. I was telling Boy Artache that in Leyte alone, we built 33,000 homes for Hayan, Yolanda. In Cebu, I believe another 27,000 homes. And, recently I was in Cebu for another typhoon. I think that's Odette, no? We had 71 homes built, and these people don't have to pay for their power. Not only do they have a great view of the ocean and a nice town, but they also have solar power. So they don't have to pay for power anymore. So match tayo dyan. And that's why the memorandum of agreement is very much okay. Tony Kila tells me you're also in food. You know, you give food to the hungry. You know, again, the mind of our country is troubled. The stomach is troubled because of malnourishment. Many kids will grow old before they're even, what was it, Tina, 27? Kids will die before they hit the age of 5, right? Before they hit the age of 5. That's the state of malnutrition in this country. We're unhealthy. Tuberculosis. 27 Filipinos die every day in this country. I know because I'm the Red Cross. And we always have a good eye on looking at the health situation. Not only the arms, but the legs. You know, we can't even travel here. It takes us 30 minutes to reach 10 miles within Metro Manila. Some people have spent more time in traffic than with their wives. For that matter, the ambassador once said, you know, I spent my office hours in the car in Metro Manila traffic. That's how bad we are. And, you know, over and above that, many of our people really have a lot of trouble, for example, finding work. And like I said, they go abroad, and certainly the heart is certainly broken. A lot of people are separated from their families, and sometimes they lose their values in the process. Very, very important in a country that the values of family remain. And this is something that we have not addressed. Most of the time, we are the country that is known as the most disaster-prone country in the world. We're coming out with the Disasters Handbook in the Red Cross, and again, the Philippines ranks among the 5. Even in vaccination, the Philippines is the top 5 of 0 vaccination. Imagine that. A lot of our young people, you know, I'm sure all of you have children. I'm sure that by the time they're 1 year old, all of them would have gotten all the vaccinations that they have. But many of our kids in this country don't have vaccination. So now let me take off from where I'd like to go. And in terms of vaccination, that's a huge problem. And the Red Cross is also, along with the Red Rotary Club, I'm sure, engages in that once in a while. Not just food. I forgot about food. We have food trucks in the Red Cross. We have 38 food trucks that we specially designed so that when there's a evacuation, people don't have to cook food. Very hard to cook food. We'll give them canned goods, kaharap pa ng abrilata, and then they have to look for a place to cook. We also have food trucks, and those are the food trucks. They're rolling, and people just line up for food. Hot meals on wheels is what I call them. And at the same time, we also provide showers and sanitation facilities. So your Red Cross has become a very, very complete Red Cross. In terms of vaccination and COVID, we were number 1 in making sure that all Filipinos were tested by a few million tests. The second one was about 1 million. We were already at 5.7 million tests. So we try to do our best in the Red Cross all the time because we're in the business of saving lives, changing minds, and alleviating human suffering. That is also the business of Rotary. In polio, we did polio as well. The Red Cross spent, had a lot of people go up in horses in the hinterlands to provide polio treatment. And I don't know if they were able to show you the lady on a horse. That's my favorite picture of the Red Cross. Having said all that, today we are a country that seems to be occupied with nothing else but politics as usual. Politics is our favorite pastime. You see the former president who practically sold us to China, and he's in the debate, and he's attacking the current president. They're not talking about what is in the best interest of the country. They're talking about 2028. Is my daughter going to be the president in 2028? Yan ang tanong ng the kumag from Davao. And I'll tell you something. In the meantime, instead of occupying ourselves with the welfare of our country, our military has become one of the most niggardly supplied country. Of course, it's improving now, and I've been pushing that when I was in the Senate. We should buy high performance jets. We should have a strong Air Force and a strong Navy, but nobody paid attention. And so right now we're being pushed around. Kahit na labanan ng tubig, talo pa tayo. I mean, tinutubig tayo sa dagat and we don't even have water cannons. Really silly. And so today, we look at the situation and we just watch helplessly. How did we get there? Perhaps, because every time I go out anywhere in this country, since I lost the elections, say, oh, babalik ka ba? Kailangan babalik ka. Kailangan ka. Yung Senado natin, puro komedya na. Yeah. They know what they do not want, but when it comes to knowing what they want, what do we want? We need political parties, which is a group of people who have shared visions, shared values, who will make sure that they pick the right people, not just during the election, but long before the election, so that they can combat what I call the very indifferent attitude of our people. They just wait for elections because that's an opportunity to fleece the candidates. And so what do you have today? Do you have choices? You're victimized by surveys. I don't know why we are so enamored with surveys 2-3 years before the elections. What do? They mind manage us. So, pag tatakbo ka at wala ka doon, sorry ka na lang. Wala kang makukuha doon sa mga magbibigay. So, kung magpipilit ka makakuha sa magbibigay sa'yo, even before you get elected, you're already co-opted. It's called regulatory capture. And that's what's been happening for the last so many years. Mabuti pa ng mga bata tayo, they had political parties, even if they're an excuse of one party with two factions, liberal and nationalista, and they played musical chairs every time there's a new election. At least there was a party where they go through the motions of selecting who are the best candidates. But now you can't do that. You want to run, you have to run on your own. You have to make sure you have a treasure chest. And it's not easy, it's not cheap. And the media foments these surveys, sorry, okay magalit sa akin, because when they foment the surveys, the media will make money para tumaas ka, mag-advertise ka. Pag nag-advertise ka, mahina ang 1 million for 30 seconds during the campaign. So you can imagine how difficult it would be. So if you're wondering why what has happened to our country, that used to be Asia's #1, now we have become Asia's used to be, that's where it came from. Our education has gone by the wayside. Our health, we're unhealthy. And we're going to miss the demographic sweet spot that this country is supposed to have, because if they're sickly, Nono Yulo knows that. I know that because I was promoting Subic. I had a lot of investments coming in. But nowadays, if our people are sickly, how are you going to get investments? If they cannot compute, if they cannot analyze, we're not attractive. We think we're attractive, but we're not that attractive. We seem to be like I was reading something in TikTok, which I don't really read. It just sent through Facebook. The nice thing about old man, when an old man can have with a bald spot, with a tummy, he says, "I'm still sexy." Talo ang babae palagi. I don't know what they're talking about, but anyway, that's the way it is. We seem to believe in ourselves only for very quick moments, but in reality, we can't seem to analyze. We can't seem to think long run. Now, when I talked about this to Bing Bing, nahihirapan ako palagi when I speak to Rotary. Why? There's a taboo. We're not political. That's a lot of hogwash. Sorry, I'm very disrespectful. The moment you're born, this guy is a politician because he has to go to LaSalle and he has to go to Ateneo and he has to be nice to everybody. That's politics. When you run for campus politics, that's politics. Rotary, okay, you don't. But it doesn't mean that you cannot speak and join the narrative. Because if you don't join the narrative is controlled by the charlatans of the world. Even in America, social media has taken over so bad, and you can see that ang kampanya ni Trump nandun sa courtroom. Araw-araw. Right? Mabuti pa yung isang member niya dito. Ano pa ang member niya? 92 years old.
Cesar Campos.
Tatalunan ni Cesar Campos si Joe Biden because mas mabilis lumakad si Joe Biden si Cesar Campos kaysa kay Joe Biden. And I'm sure he's healthier. But you know, the point is, choice has become very difficult in this world today. And poverty is an absence of choice. When you're poor, you have no choice. And if you cannot build up the economy, a lot of poor people will have no choice. And so you end up, kanina pinapanood ko sa TV yung interview ni Karen Davila, and they were analyzing what's left now. Who's going to run? The people who are left running are the ones who are the dynasties. Have you bothered to check how many dynasties are in the provinces? How many former construction companies have given up on giving their mayors some resources? They're the ones getting the resources. I might as well be the congressman so I can get it and I don't have to give anybody else. I'm sure Howie knows about this. And I'll tell you, sino ba natitira? Yun nasa survey. Sino ba natitira? Yung mga may pangalan na artista, right? It doesn't mean that because you're an artista, you're not qualified. But at least, kung a janitor or somebody applying for government has to have qualifications, you mean to tell me any Tom, Jerk, and Harry, you know, use Dick, Tom, Jerk, and Harry can become a politician in this country and get elected? Iba kumakain lang doon sa Senado, walang ginagawa. Iba nag-aahit, nag-susuklay ng bigote. Kaya nagsabi niya na nakita ko, namagano ka pa, very boisterously. And you complain about that. So where are we? We're back to where we were. That, as Secretary of Tourism, I created a light and sound show, which I hope it will be open again. I put in additional money to make it in Tagalog. I said, the Spanish friars put walls in our mind. Intramuros were walls. Tresuelo ko lang. Hindi ka pwede mag-ambisyon. The ambition started only when the Suez Canal was opened and Jose Rizal and company were able to go to Europe and could debate with the ilustrados in the world. That's the time they discovered, magaling pala tayo. Pagbalik dito, hindi naman pwede yan. Pag nagdebate ka rito, Indio, yari ka. True or false? That's the truth. It's still a colonial hangover until now. And our educational system has not promoted critical thinking or analysis. And so today, we are out there up in a creek without a paddle. So sino matitira? Wala. Next election, nag-uusapan na, sino mananalo. Hindi boboto yung tao kung walang panalo. Hindi magbibigay kung walang panalo. So, you end up with the retards. You end up with the, and some people like that because it's easier to deal with somebody who just accepts money and get what you want and make sure that you can regulatorily capture him into giving you all the contracts, all the opportunities in government. What's the solution? I don't have the solution. Maybe Rotary has. When I look at the rotary wheel, I see cogs. Now, the Jesuits used to call it, it cannot be a cog in the machine. The cogs of the machine turn into power when it goes with another wheel. And that's how I look at Rotary. It's supposed to be an instigator of movement, of energy, of dynamism. So maybe, I'm not saying this, bahala kayo, I was a Rotarian once upon a time. My father was a Paul Harris. He was the founder of the Rotary Club of Olongapo. But at the time when I became interested in politics, it was no longer for me. I thought it was too slow. Sorry, bato-bato sa langit, tamaro, magagalit. But I think it's about time that we, recalibrate ourselves. After all, you're classified as some of the best in your craft. All of you have a classification, if I remember correctly, in Rotary. And when you get that classification, that's yours because you're respected in that classification. So if we do not do anything about our situation, like sabi doon sa TV program kanina, nung panahon ni Duterte, takot lahat dami pinapatay siya. Sabihin pa nila yan. Imagine. Sabihin, ang dami pinapatay. Dami pa lang pinapatay. Ba't di kayo lumalaban? Ngayon, malalakas ang loob nyo. May ICC. O ba't wala pa hanggang ngayon? Is there something we're missing here? I mean, killing is killing. My father was assassinated. That's how I got into politics. I was really upset. I got into law. I was in Procter & Gamble. And I decided I would leave so that I would learn the law. And every time there's a killing, and you can check the records, I always spoke up and railed against extrajudicial killing. In fact, I was able to get the veterans pay of the veterans when I went up in Congress in the United States and I crossed paths with Senator Lee of Vermont, and who was with my friend Inouye. And he said, your government is not going to take that because of so many extrajudicial killings. And I said, all right, oh yeah? I spoke all the time. I speak all the time because my father was assassinated. Naimbas pa siya. Sabi niya, don't worry, Dick. Where Daddy Inouye goes, I will go. And we got it when Obama came in through a rider, and if veterans get $9,000 today from the Philippines, it's because I drafted the law that changed the law that would have deprived them. And that's what the American congressmen and senators told me. So I drafted the law and we got it done. And a smattering of veterans got their pay, which Marcos, which Macapagal, Rojas wanted to get from the Americans who rescinded the promise made by Roosevelt. But why did I digress there? Because what I'm saying is you cannot change unless you overcome your indifference. All my life has been that. We come from humble folks. My parents were high school graduates. They were hardworking Filipinos who put up restaurants, theaters in a city that was supposed to be Sin City. We ran no nightclubs. They formed Catholic Women's League. They formed the Rotary Club, Knights of Columbus. And yet, they were able to raise our family. All of us went to UP and Ateneo and raised several hundred adopted kids and put a boys' town and girls' home. And my father, who was born an American, who opted to be a Filipino, was shot every year of his 3 years that he was in office. And I can tell you that's really jars you, and that's why I fought. And that's why I fought practically every president in this country. I was removed by Cory Aquino when she took over. She thought I was pro-Marcos. Far from that. You know, you're a local government official, you're caught in the grind. You know, Erap took me out. He's supposed to be my friend. He threw a cigarette butt in front of me. And I said, in spite of the fact that we were having a hard time in Pinatubo, I went up to pick up the cigarette and put it in a wastebasket. We still managed to maintain our sanitation habits. Boy, was he mad. I became administrative order number 1 when he got elected. And of course, good old Digong Duterte, I told him, you do not deserve to be president because he was at the mastermind of farming. And I say this because I have the evidence and you have the evidence. All you have to do is come out, take all my reports in the Senate, and you can see that his name is on the top. Michael Yang can be deported anytime. Nobody takes a figure. And when I talk to the ombudsman and we file it, the ombudsman goes only as far as Lao. And I don't even know he's going to continue. He may not continue depending on how umbrage we Filipinos are if they get away. Can you imagine they got away with 11.5 billion pesos at a time of great, peril to all of us? Naghihirap tayo, nagkakahog tayo dito sa tapos ninanakawan na pala tayo. That's how we have become. We have become mere watchers, spectators. We don't get involved. And I dare say, if everybody got involved, not just in a political exercise, when there's an election, talo kayo. Kung magsisimula lang kayo on the election day or on election month or campaigning, talo tayo. You have to start years before. You have to build up the infrastructure. Just like COVID, just like ito ginagawa natin sa visals. You know that the Red Cross build up an infrastructure of mga bakunador. And, Secretary Bosso was telling me the other day, your people do a lot more. And he confronted these people, bakit ang Red Cross? Sabi ko, ang sikreto, hindi yung mga trucks namin na meron kami. Ang sikreto, nobody can beat the heart of a volunteer. May kusang loob, may malasakit at kapwa-tao na hindi kailangan sweldohan. And that's why we're strong in terms of vaccination. That's why we can build all these things. Look at the lady on a horse going up the mountain to make vacuna. Even as I speak today, we do 1,000 a day in Holo for vacuna. And so, same thing. If we don't do anything about ourselves, well, you're doomed to oblivion. You know, until one day we decide, well, we'll have a revolution, let's kill everybody and then start all over again, like what happened in France. And that's the only time they were able to change and say, Vive la France. L'égalité, fraternité. So, I guess I can't give you anything except quotations. These are nice to hear. Not gold, but only man can make nations great and strong. Men who for truth and honor's sake stand fast and suffer long. Brave men who work while others sleep. Men who dare while others shy. They build a nation's pillars deep and lift them to the skies. I'm out of the picture, but I've been in the Red Cross. Even as a senator, even as a secretary of tourism, I was in the Red Cross. I enjoyed it. I've been quoted many times. If you were made to choose between senator and chairman of the Red Cross, I would always pick Red Cross. Why? I'm not paid. I've got people who work hard. They may not be as brilliant as we are here, but they work hard. And they get a tongue lashing from me every day. You can ask my staff. They work hard. But we get the job done, right? This young lady is 32 years old. She handles disaster management in the Red Cross. She's part and parcel of what we do in Mindanao. 40 billion was invested in Mindanao. Because of that, what do you call it? Share line. They changed it. It used to be, you know, intertropical convergent zone. Now they call it share line. Baha ng baha, di mo nang mamalayo, wala namang bagyo. but, you know, we're still there. You know that we have 27 water tankers in this country and we provide water in Zamboanga, in Mindanao, in Albay, everywhere. We have 10,000 liters and we make water from dirty pool so people can drink. We just don't say wala tayong magagawa. When we did Subic, we were not consulted, so I went to Congress and banged my fist at the table. You're breaking the rice bowls of Filipinos who work hard. They're being paid well by the Americans. So if you're going to remove it, give it to us. And we did Subic. The rest was history. The moment I was kicked out, wala na, gumano na. Wala na yung FedEx. Wala na yung Costa. Wala na yung investment. Ngayon, it's another base again. By the way, for my last piece, I cannot resist this. Pièce de resistance, if you will. Welcome to Cagayan. All the Chinese from the mainland are going to school there right now. Have you heard about that? Even their congressmen are complaining. Grabe. So, you know, Rafi Alunan, my good friend from LaSalle, complains about that. He wrote a piece about in our subdivisions. Right beside the airport, there are people pretending as Pogo of military age, well built. And they're there. Remember Little Tokyo in Davao before the Japanese invaded us? That's what happened. It's happening again. But never mind that. I'll go to something more recent. Remember Hitler when he attacked the Sudetenland? Oh, you're harming my Germans there in Czechoslovakia. And he made that an excuse. Putin, this is in Ukraine. The little green man, not Russians, but they went there and said, oh, the Russians are being abused here. And I'm not being the little, the boy that cried wolf. That could happen here. If they think, oh, you're abusing the Chinese, we'll attack you. And then we say, leave. And then they say, make me. That's why I support the president when he says, let's have a tripartite arrangement with Japan and the US. Wala naman tayo ibubuga. During the debate, you were all quiet. Buwawala yung mga Amerikano rito. I didn't like the Americans as much as you do, but at least I can talk with them. You know? And sabi ko, when these guys leave, our Air Force will be all air and no force. And that's exactly what happened. So, in closing, I just thought I'd titillate you with a little, you know, nudge you a bit and start waking up your juices inside you. There's still some. to make you think about it. And hopefully when you go out, it doesn't go out the other ear. Think about it. Our future may be darker than it seems. Unless we decide to change the political system, unless we decide to get involved, unless we decide we're not going to take it any longer, but it needs activism of an individual variety. Don't wait for the other guy. You start it. Makialam tayo. Kundi, they'll take us for granted. They will divide and rule us, and that's what's happening. My God, I never thought I'd see that day when people are being killed out in the street. I put up a law that creates, if you look at the motorcycles today, they have a little bigger plate that you can read the numbers. Why? Because pag dumaan yung motorsiklo, binaril ka, di mo makikita yung number. Ngayon nakikita yung number. That's why there's probably less. But they use that against me. They use all the motorcycles in the country to say, don't vote for Gordon. Papatayin niya tayo mga motorcycle riders because he's gonna make us put a plate that's bigger than a television screen and then he'll make us pay for it. Black propaganda. Talo tayo. You think I feel pain? No. I have done 38 years in government and I'm proud of it. I enjoyed every bit of it. And I serve my country. And if there's some more extra, fine. I'll do the rest of my life with the Red Cross. Thank you very much for your patience. Mabuhay kayo lahat.
Thank you so much, Senator Dick. Now, an equally important part of the program, the good senator has agreed to answer a few questions. But before that, I just want to say that it's amazing, Senator Dick, because I noticed that the Red Cross and the Rotary Club of Makati has very many similarities and parallelisms. Did you know, Senator Dick, that when you mentioned about polio, the very first drop of polio done in the Philippines was in 1979 by then international president of the Rotary, James Bomar. And we, as RC Makati Rotarians, are very proud because the first drop of polio to be done in the Philippines was done in our headquarters. So that deserves a big round of applause. And one more thing, let's consider that RC, Rotary Club, Red Cross, pag-isipan na lang natin kung ano yung billing, kung ano yung kung sino mauna. Biro lang po, Senator. So, may we invite the first question? Please just come up in front, introduce yourself, and please go right away with your question. Tito Charlie, Past President Charlie Rufino.
Just a quick question. I brought a group of people to Clark one time, Urban Land Institute, an organization, just to see Clark, and they were so amazed in the sense that a golden opportunity was lost after Pinatubo because you had an area almost the size of Singapore that you can have planned from the very beginning. I said, if we had someone that did something that they did in Subic, in Clark, what a difference it would have made for the country. Any comment about the difference between Clark and Subic after Pinatubo? Because I think that was a mind-boggling experience to get the volunteers into Subic, to preserve Subic. No?
Yes, thank you very much that you noticed. Can you imagine people who lost their jobs and lost their homes in Pinatubo and then going in there and not stealing anything? And within a year, we got a lot of jobs back. Halos walang incentive from the government. The money was not forthcoming. We were working without pay. And we did it. Wall Street Journal, New York Times, The Economist talked about Subic as the new Hong Kong, which I was patterning it after. I was talking about that as early as 1971 in the Constitutional Convention. We have to prepare if the Americans leave. We have to have a plan. And right now, I just issued a Tina will tell you, I just issued a message out in the press that I'm very happy that part of Marcos's visit in Washington came up with the pushing of development and economic investment in Subic, Clark, Manila, the three airports, the three seaports, which I've been saying for a long time, which I filed a bill when I was in the Senate, approved by both houses, but of course rejected by Duterte because I got him informally. And yet it's going to happen. Hopefully, now you'll have four airports and practically four seaports: Batangas Seaport, Manila, Bataan, and Subic. Airport in Subic, Clark, Manila International Airport, and Ramon Angs Airport in Bulacan. Boy, that's going to be an opportunity for investments. And I had a plan there that you can use all these incentives from Subic, Clark, and put it in a particular area. And all you need is a salesman. David here can be a good salesman. He can go out there and get investments. I mean, talagang palakasan lang ng loob yan eh. Huwag kang papagulat eh. And yet, we were able to do that. We got APEC in Subic, and we did it, and, there's so many missed opportunities. But if you keep quiet, there's going to be a lot more. That's why I've never want to, I call it overcoming indifference and overcoming apathy. Thank you. Thank you, Charlie.
Okay, well, thank you, Senator. We'll have Harley Liano followed by Tony Lopez and then PP Junjun Dairit.
Good afternoon, my idol,
Good afternoon, Harley.
Senator Gordon. Actually, I'm a company. I have a company that signed a bilateral trade agreement with Indonesia on a global bartering. And of course, in that bilateral trade, I profoundly tell them that we have to have this tobacco, Manila hemp, which is the abaca fibers, and the mineral resources, which are nickel, copper, just like that. Now, also, aside from the global bartering, I also signed a energy agreement with Indonesia on a embedded compartmentalized island-to-island power generation, because that would reduce the cost by almost 50%. And we will be using an indigenous material like palm oil, which is very available now in the Philippines. Now, I was just touched with what you are saying, that every Filipino should actually do something with regard to the economic development and see for ourselves that it will happen. That's why for me, in my own little way, I was able to garner that agreement with Indonesian government. And precisely right now, we already touched base Misamis Oriental, which is the governor is Unabia. And we signed an agreement that they will do a plantation there for 50,000 hectares of tobacco. And that will now be barter with the Indonesian coal, which also will reduce the price. So those are things that we are looking at to empower the countryside. Thank you, Senator.
Congratulations, Harley. That's the kind of Filipino we need. It's called assertion. In this country, we like arousal better than assertion.
Okay, so there was no question there, but a statement. All right. Tony Lopez, PP Tony, for your brief question.
Senator Gordon, thank you for gracing our meeting. If I may ask for your opinion on foreign policy, security, yeah. Many of us were all patriots here, yet I for one get confused because I hear a lot of critics on the EDCA. Okay. Well, yeah. So Subic was once a base. Now there will be, I believe, 9 EDCA sites. There are critics. I'd like to know your view. And secondly, on your view on the EDCA sites. on having bases, EDCA sites on having bases or whatever bases they are in the Philippines. And second, Senator Gordon, is how do we react to certain local governments like the governor in Cagayan and the mayor, I believe, of Tuguegarao, who are, I mean, how should we react? Is it something we just sit back, let them do their thing, we continue doing our thing? Anyway, if they claim that they want their province to be part of the Belt and Road Initiative of China, how should we react? How would you advise us to react in such a situation? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony Lopez. Let me just point out that always the national interest must prevail. You do not have a military that can protect us right now. Right now, we're buying time. Right now, and I used to say, while the bases were here, let's use the umbrella of defense that they provide us by using money that would otherwise go to defense into expanding our infrastructure, making us more attractive to foreign investments. And if you're concerned about EDCA, let me show you Japan. Japan has had American bases, so has South Korea. The Japanese even pay for the upkeep of the bases in Japan. And that has allowed them to become a world power once again. Now they have an aircraft carrier, they call it a destroyer, but they put in a plank that has allowed them to make an aircraft carrier. But you know, the only thing a bully recognizes if you come from Ateneo or you come from La Salle or Letran or a public school, the only thing a bully recognizes is that you stand up to him. You know, don't wait until your head is in the crocodile's mouth and say, let's negotiate. Because that's the way we're headed. And obviously, let me bring you back to your younger days, Tony. We never had a problem in South China Sea before. Why is it that when China became powerful, they suddenly owned the West Philippine Sea, the Vietnam areas, etc. And now we can't just go wherever we want. We have to ask their permission. That really grates my sensibilities. But it's not my sensibilities that matter. What about the fishermen from Olongapo or Zambales that used to go to Scarborough Shoals? Before they could share coffee, cigarettes with Vietnam and Chinese fishermen there. Now, they're prevented from doing so. So I think we need EDCA, which is the debate I had with that senator from Vermont, Leahy. And I said, if you don't want it, then fine. It will be a Chinese lake. And when 60% of the world's business goes through the Straits of Malacca, is interdicted, then you'll have a problem. I mean, the world has become more dangerous even now. So am I in favor of EDCA? Yes. I'm in favor of EDCA, but we have to be sure that we don't take it like hook, line, and sinker. We have to engage Americans and make sure that we work together so that the intentions of EDCA happen and that our military is built up as well. Cagayan? Oh, you know, the best way is to remove somebody who thinks that by going to China is going to bring in investments to China. Well, what are the investments promised to Duterte by the Chinese? And by the way, go to Sri Lanka and they lost their airport. They lost their port. Many places abroad, including in Africa, the Chinese are there. And eventually their investments there have been taken over by Chinese businessmen. Now, that's fine. Unequal treaties are the result of an equal bargaining strength. So if you want to sleep with somebody who might, you know, interdict you literally, no, behave yourself. You better be careful. Better be careful. And that's why it's important. We have to have allies. And, you know, our relationship with America has always been primus inter pares, with the Americans getting the primus and we get the pares. But we can do better than that. I had no problems with the Americans when I was mayor of Olongapo. I didn't even follow the business agreement. I locked them up when they pulled around and called their Navy captains when they messed up the town. They said, you can't do that. Oh, yeah? Go protest. In the meantime, your man languishes in Olongapo jail until you apologize to the community. So it really is a matter of assertion. And I know that's a small thing, but if the governor, I know him, but if he prefers it because he's near China, he's the first one that's going to be invaded. So it'll be Batanes. You know that the Red Cross is training our first aiders. Somebody here from First Aid Safety? Melissa? We are training our people to have first aid, wartime first aid, in case we're invaded. Because, I don't know, pagka doon ka lang magte-train, di huli na. And that's where we can have good agreements here. We can do, I understand this is a very well-heeled club. It costs 1.4 million to have a volunteer emergency response vehicle, and we use that for going to the towns and provinces. We can have RC vehicles like that go around. It costs about 3,000 to have a cold chain, the box that contains the vaccine so that they will be protected. It costs another 70,000 to have a refrigerator that is 2 degrees to 8 degrees in a rural health center. You can have the Rotary Club and Red Cross do that together. Better things that we can do. Food trucks. So first aid. Have you guys been trained for first aid? Or are you just attracted by the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation aspect? Yeah. I think you should train. Your kids should train. Everyone should train, because if you're in a and I'm right, by the way, I promise Bing, the agreement we signed allows you to become a member of the Red Cross. Even if you're not a member, kung may mangyari sa inyo, you can call 143. Remember 143? I love you. That's what Charlie used to say to some of the girls that he courted para hindi siya mabibisto. Pagka nabasted siya, I hate you. Pagka sinagot siya, I love you. But 143 is a number of the Red Cross. And you can call an ambulance. You can call anytime. And even if you're not a member, we'll pick you up. Unless you're well-heeled, of course. Pero kung nabangga ka, kailangan mo or your kids are traveling from Manila to Albay, they get into an accident, you can call 143, we'll call Albay, we'll call Quezon Red Cross, send your ambulance, one of our friends from Rotary, their children are there, we'll pick you up. So that's what it's for. And you get 1 bag of blood in the process. So the more Rotary clubs do that, the more we are able to maintain our ambulance fleet. Trouble is, part I didn't go into that because very sensitive. A lot of people just rely on the government. Lahat ng pera ninyo, binibigay na lang sa tao para in aid of re-election.
All right.
And that's a fact. Have somebody research, you can fund the research. How many of the dynasties get re-elected? And how do they get re-elected? Because lahat ng largest ng budget ng Pilipinas, binibigay sa kanila. Akala nyo man na wala na yun doon sa Kinapoles? It's there every day. Ang laki-laki ng pera ginagastos natin sa probinsya. And you don't even know kung natatapos yung mga projects. But it goes to the election. I hope I was able to answer, Tony.
Thank you, Senator. So we have 7 minutes left. I hope we can accommodate these questions. Junjun Dairit, Nono Yulo, Rodrigo Segura, and maybe PE Keith Harrison. So please go direct to your questions. Thank you.
Senator Gordon, let's say you're the president. Would you advocate for, or would you issue defense bonds, long-term defense bonds? The money will go for building up our defense. My second question is, what do you think about declaring a boycott of Chinese goods, considering we cannot match them militarily right now? in the West Philippine Sea?
Well, first of all, I'm not advocating that we shut the door on China. We can trade with China, but they have to respect us. Okay? Hindi yung gagawin sa atin, oh, hindi namin bibili yung saging nyo, kundi kayo susunod sa amin. And that's where you play the American card. O, hindi kami kinukuha ng saging, baka you may want to buy our saging. Yeah. Because this Banana Republic is sagging right now. Di ba? Ito nakuha ni David. Oh. And would I advocate bonds? Bonds are good. But of course, it's the marketability of these bonds that matter. It would be good if somebody invests in our military. And I don't know if there are enough people. There are so many millionaires in this country, closet millionaires. You know, the car industry is flourishing like anything. They're buying cars left and right. Look at all the Porsches, the Ferraris,
Bugatti pa.
the Bugatti. Ang daming pera dyan, nagkalat eh. Hindi kasi sinisingil ng BIR. I understand, member nyo yung BIR Commission. Sabihin nyo sa kanya.
Customs.
Ang daming ganun eh. Used to run after them in customs. And I used to have, if we are able to collect this much, we can buy a squadron of F-16s or we can buy C-130s. Madali sabihin pagka kino-compute. But you really have to make sure, as I've learned, if they can see where the money is going, they will pay. That's why I have a lot of it. Do you know that I have payloaders in the Red Cross? You know that we have a ship? Because when I ask people, this is how I'm going to use it, and they see it, that's why, Athena, are you still there? Oh, don't leave me. Don't forsake me. We can show how it's being utilized. So my classmate, Babes and Pau, gave me 8 ambulances from Security Bank. And I will tell them, this is how we use it. Same thing with your bonds. If they see that we can... The problem with the military purchases is before, BCDA had the money for it. And if they started it right away, we probably would have some jets or some capital ships already. Pero marami, guess what? Same thing that happened, by the way, I forgot to say this. Sa vaccine, up to 2015, we were 95% vaccine capable. You know what happened? Binago ng Secretary of Health noong panahon ni Noynoy, ngayon may kaso siya, pumasok rin yung Dengvax siya, hindi na siya bumibili sa WHO, sa UNICEF, bumili siya doon sa mga supplier niya. So nagka-delay. Pag na-delay ka, ang budget dyan is 2 million kids every year. So pag hindi mo natuloy yan, papatong nyo sa next year. Mahirap lang habulin. And that's what happened.
Next question, please. Nono Yulo.
Senator Gordon, is it working?
It's working.
In the 1960s, the Philippine economy was the leading economy in Asia and ASEAN. We were only second to Japan in GDP per capita. Today, over the years, our GDP kept on going down. And today in ASEAN, we are now ahead only of Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia. Vietnam overtook the Philippines in 2021. Sad to say, China, South Korea, Taiwan have overtaken the Philippines as well.
Yes.
Question. I have heard your thought waves and they're very correct. And then you ask yourself the question, what do we do? And then you said, ewan ko, something like that, meaning it's a big problem. I'd like to tell you, I speak now for the Chamber of Commerce of the Philippine Islands, the original chamber in 1886. We have spent the last 7 years debating, fighting to craft finally an economic compass, Pillars 5, navigating the future, which we just printed out. We would like to present this to you, invite you to our board to dialogue, and maybe this can be how we can solve the country's problems to make sure Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos will not overtake us. Can we invite you, sir? So that, because we want to call you President Gordon, not Senator Gordon.
No, titles are nothing to me. You go where you make a difference. Red Cross was so poor before. But everybody, now we have our own building. Now we have earned so much from COVID. Accidental. We went into COVID. We bought machines so we could test. And we were the lowest. But because we were honest, we made a lot of money. So malakas ang loob kong I was about to build a hospital right behind my office, pero yung nagbebenta sa akin, may sabit. So hinihintay ko pa wala yung sabit niya, and I would build a hospital in EDSA. So that it's going to be like very ambitious. We're going to do that. Then we have some lands that we inherited from, like you, Makati. You have some lands given by the Laurel Langre Agreement, no? And you should utilize that also. I would be very glad to sit down with the Chamber of Commerce. You're friends of mine. Always been.
Thank you. Senor Rodrigo, are you still going to ask your question? We've been allowed by President Ping an extra 5 minutes. So let's, all right.
Senator Gordon, thank you for the talk. Very interesting.
Can you speak a little louder?
Yeah.
Because I'm hard of hearing, and they say people who are hard.
I think he's better now.
Yeah.
Well, I am from Colombia, and I was touched by the fact that you mentioned that actually the people here can revolt anytime if they feel hungry, and then things are getting worse. I got here back in 1995, and I was struck by the poverty of the country, but now it's even worse. So I don't know what's happening, but the fact that I come from Latin America and I saw several countries going down because of the lack of good leadership, everybody was trying to get the share of the leadership so they could do their own business. The systems went down because we were fighting communism and capitalism, both sides nurtured by different actors in the international arena. But here I don't see communism being a factor of destabilization of the system. Now, what is the intention of these political parties here? Because I don't see much development, but the leadership is always pulling towards getting their share, but actually development is not part of the agenda of these people. So how do you, you are a president, candidate for president. So how do you assess this? How can you change the mindset of the people here to be more progressive towards the development of the country rather than just develop their own business and leaving the country and the needs of the country behind? Because this is about leadership, how they focus and who they support, so the things can keep going like that way.
Well, you have to shine the light of media upon these people who are trying to do well. Subic had its share of the light, but when the government changed, they turned it off. Clark was way behind us. It was stolen blind. You remember? Nawala lahat yung gamit ng Clark. But when Gloria Macapagal became president, she made Clark Diosdado Macapagal International Airport. Nasara na yung airport ng Subic, hindi na ginagamit. Sayang. It's a world-class airport. So you really have to see when you see like what you do here. Like I looked at your website, and you guys do a lot of job, but it's a secret. You know, if you keep on promoting it outside, we will lose the social media. Now it's just no analysis, reception of all news, whether it's fake news or actual news. So you really have to set these examples. But you really have to make sure that the guys or the community that you're promoting are really doing their job well. Because you could get burned. But the important thing is Rotary is the best position to do that because you give awards, di ba? You can give award to a certain community that has done very well. You know, people are still looking for examples. When I was chairman of Subic, everybody followed the rules of traffic. Right?
Yes.
Even my officers there, they had a red patch and a blue patch here. The red patch meant they're still learning English. The blue patch meant they knew how to speak English. So we were investor friendly, you know. But when you got the ticket, they'll ask you, you know, why you were stopped. It was education all the way. And that's why you cut the red tape. You say, okay, you got a ticket. You just go to that building over there and pay the fine so that there is no delay. Delay causes corruption.
Yes.
So it's always that way. You have to really punch it all the time, make it happen. And it's a tedious thing, but slowly you will see the change happen.
Thank you.
For our very last question, we have President-elect Keith Harrison. Please make it brief. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your talk today, Senator Gordon.
The
Mike,
party
please.
system. Yes. I can hear you. Yeah.
What sort of country or what sort of system would you advocate as a better alternative for developing the right sort of structure that would take the Philippines forward?
There really is nothing wrong with the system except that the people running it. You know, you had the Liberal Party before. And then you need laws to make sure that you punish people who change parties. I filed the bill that way. You know, you won as a nationalista, and then you suddenly switch for no good reason, then you are preempted from running in the next two elections. That will discourage people from party switching. And then, of course, Agara and I used to talk about this all the time. We should have parties must have regular seminars with their members. They must be founded on principles so that they believe. They don't believe, you know, the power of money will preempt them right away. So look at the Democratic Party. How is it? And the Republican Party. The Republican Party is no longer Lincoln's party. You know, it's become totally conservative. I was reading I think I was watching YouTube, which I don't really believe most of the time. One of my favorite character actors, Walter Brennan, Rio Bravo, remember the guy? And he's a lovable character, but he was a member of the John Birch Society, which advocated racist policies, etc. So thumbs down. See, it's information that's important. It's not as simple as that, of course, but you need leaders. Leaders who will stand there, you know, and say, all right, this is what the party stands for. Like yesterday, don't quote me, huh? Yesterday, I was in a place somewhere in Manila, and a politician came in, and he started, you know, we were all in red. I was the only one in blue with the Red Cross thing. And he started saying, oh, okay. He said, we're going to give you 20 million for the Red Cross. And I was very upset. I said, at the same time, he said, he started talking in campaigning. So the first speech, I spoke also, and I said, hey, I would advise you that I took out the national from the Philippine Red Cross because we're not government. Now we're Philippine Red Cross. The national gave the idea the government could intervene with us. And they can. Duterte tried to do that. But I said, no, we're independent. So we follow the principles. Red Cross has 7 fundamental principles. All right? We're a humanitarian organization. We're impartial. We're neutral. We're for unity. We're universal. We're a voluntary organization. We follow those principles. So when we started doing that, at the next meeting, there was a big rally of RCY, Red Cross Youth. And he would say, what's the president's name? And I thought he was going to say Marco. He said, his name is Rodrigo. Now you know who I'm talking about.
All right.
So I didn't stand beside him. I stayed in the corner. When I spoke, I said, you know who you are? The Red Cross is about you. When there's an earthquake, you will know what to do to help your fellow man. Are you like that? And I said, you know, I'm corny. I'm Dick Gordon. I've been serving in the Red Cross for 54 years, 38 years, and I'm corny. I'm not going to regale you with hi, hello, things like that, all the gimmickry of politics. But here, you're here, better learn how to save lives. Better learn how to work when there's a disaster. Because look at what we have, and I proceed to show them what we have done in the Red Cross. And I think we got them back. Because everybody was being, and they were going to toss basketballs. And I said, you don't do that. I mean, and the guy who invited him, I said, you know, the other party is going to hear about it, and we're going to be in the middle of things. So I said, don't do that. And he left. You have to stand your ground. Can you imagine me in Parliament? Everybody was telling me, the rest of the senators did not sign. They're good guys, but they're afraid of re-election. So they did not sign. I said, you know, you use your head, and I'm a lawyer. Everybody who went before my committee had to take an oath. Right, Howie? Or not si Howie? You have to take an oath. Is a statement under oath acceptable in the ombudsman? Yes. Oh, I don't need your God. I'm sorry. Don't need your signatures. You know? So any of you now can pick up that report and file the case yourselves. And it's all there. It's all there. Who started it? Who moved the money from the Department of Health to this, you know, the STBM, a dark room in the Department of Health or Trade or whatever, budget management, I'm sorry, budget management. He did. Who appointed all these guys? He did. Rodrigo. You know? And when these guys escaped, where did they go? They chartered the plane. And where were they going to fly off? Davao. And I told the sergeant, do not arrest them inside the Davao airport. When they get out and are cleared to go ride the plane, arrest them. That's how we got arrested. So all the evidence is practically there. So what are you guys doing? Can you imagine the impact of not as Rotary, but all of us signed, all my classmates signed, all your classmates signed, and say, this is a class suit, taxpayer suit, you stole money from us at the height of the pandemic, and this comes out, boy, that's going to hit this country like a thunderclap. And then they say, we're not alone. We can do it. That's the trouble with the democracy. You're swayed by the crowd. Both ways.
But there are many democracies that also fight, but I know I have to stop.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I believe that deserves a warm round of applause. We did get our money's worth and being with friends today and having our very good Senator Dick answer our questions. So with that, before President Bing adjourns the meeting, his president's response.
Well, Dick, as usual, you gave a speech for us to remember, mull about, and we have to, I guess, all of us individually ask ourselves, what can we do? Not easy, the challenge that you've tossed at us. I don't know the answers as well, no? But right now, actually, Dick, we're trying to do in our own little way to help. I think we probably may not have the kind of courage, I should say, that you have shown, no? So what we try to do instead is to help in other ways, no? But sometimes I think it also takes, obviously, a leader to be able to mobilize it. So in that respect, I really wish that you could give the elections another chance. Give it a chance and simply have to try to see if we can have a leader who could lead people and motivate them and more important, allow us to follow through. So with that, Brad, I have to thank you again for your being here. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you'll remember us by taking a look at this plaque. That one is another manifestation of what we do. Okay. that is a reef. That is something that is attached to a reef bud that is meant to regenerate the coral reef. So your name there will be now put somewhere in the seas, no? That will then, yeah. And then, of course, with that, our book, 55 years, although we're now going 58 years. Okay. And then finally, you know, for you to drown your sorrows about our apathy as a country. Thank you very much.
Have a photo of, photo. And then
Maybe I should adjourn. First, I'd like to adjourn the meeting before we start having our pictures taken. Meeting adjourned, folks.
Thank you so much, Senator Dick Gordon. Okay. Okay, picture. Uno.
Congratulations for a great speech.
Okay. Okay, photo.
Teka, papakita mo.
Yan. Uno. Dos. Official.
Thank you.
Okay, Red Cross. I'd love
you.
to chat with you some more. Huh?
Sure,
Oh, yeah.
You have my number now.
Of course.
My
Yeah.
number.
Red Cross.
Thank you.
Okay, grazie.
Charlie.
Cavite Bataan Bridge, may impact ba sa Subic? Cavite Bataan, matagal pa yun. Yung connect ng bridge ng ETB, $5 billion.
Yung sa coast sa Manila Bay. Dapat ito happen.
I hope I
Pwede.
see the ending of
Oh, we'll see. Don't worry.
Well, hopefully we can follow through on that.
Arnie, I'm going there.
yeah, please.
You know, we should have a joint meeting with our board. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, Gary. Thanks.
You're part of the bike, so they're driving, but it's a bit of Manila.